and welcome back. This topic is about impressions. We always hear about impressions, don't we? Oh, that left an impression on me. Impress upon your subconscious mind. We always hear those phrases, don't we? But do we know what it means? See, phobias are simply impressions. What do you mean? Well, they tell you that a phobia is an irrational response to something. But in all honesty, a phobia is an impression that was left upon your subconscious using the modem of fear. Well, for instance, if you are afraid of spiders, arachnophobia is what they call it. Even if that word just makes you shiver because you're like, oh. What if you were a little kid and all of a sudden you felt something crawling on your skin? A spider. Right there, the impression was formed. So every time you see an image of a spider, it could be a shadow, it could be a spider in a book. Every time you see it, you're going to freak out and have that same reaction. It seems irrational, but no, fear, right? Fear is like a hot poker that has the spider on the end of it. So that when you know what you do with a hot poker, you brand something with a hot poker, it goes, right? So now all of a sudden, fear, the hot poker, imprinted or impressed upon your subconscious mind the image of a spider. So that now every time you hear or see a spider, you have an irrational response, right? What if you're afraid of flying? Something happened that impressed upon you, and it was, chances are, fear. That hot poker of fear came along, and every time now you see an airplane or think about flying, you become like BA from the A-Team and somebody's got to drug you to make you fly, right? So, impressions need a strong emotion because that strong emotion acts like a hot poker to brand your brain with an image, right? When you brand your brain with an image, what happens? The law of psychokinesis tells you that whatever image you hold is the image that is recreated in your life, right? So when Neville says to you, catch the mood, he's telling you there's a hot poker. What emotion do you want to use? He always says to you sometimes where if you overhear somebody talking about you, about how successful you are, and they're jealous of you. See, jealousy is a strong emotion that will impress upon your subconscious mind the image of success because people are jealous of you, right? So if you hear, who she thinks she is? She must have a horseshoe up her ass. Every time you turn around, she's just throwing money. You cut her, I'm sure she bleeds money. How come she always got so much? How come this about her? How come she's so lucky? Right? That's jealousy. That jealousy, when you hear it, even in your imagination, will leave a hot pokered image of success if you use it correctly. Do you see what Neville is saying to you? Because he says you can use any emotion to create an impression. What if you saw the Titanic and you saw Jack and whatever her name was, and they're on the bow of the ship, and you know the Celine Dion song is playing. You know, that image was a hot poker of love, and it seared its way into your mind so that when you think of love and romance, that's what you think of. Right? Or even Dirty Dancing, when nobody paints baby in a corner. You know what I mean? It left an impression on you because it was a strong emotion of love that was like a hot poker, and it seared its image into your brain. So when Neville Goddard tells you, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and he says to you, well, what would it feel like if? When he says, catch the mood, he's telling you to generate such a strong emotion about this desire that it leaves its mark upon your subconscious mind. And as the law of psychokinesis tells you, whatever image you hold within your mind is the image that must be recreated. That is what he's telling you. So people say, well, I don't know how that would feel to be in love. Then watch love stories. Watch romance. Watch it. Because I tell you, sometimes I watch things and I have to cry because I'm moved. That left an impression. And you know what you do with impressions? If you look back on them, you can recreate the emotion. And if you can recreate the emotion, you can recreate the image in your mind. And if you can recreate and hold the image in your mind, then it has to show up in your world. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying to you now when Neville says, impress upon your subconscious mind? Because once something is impressed upon your mind, this is where revision comes in. It can be hard to uproot it. You know this as well as anybody else. That's where phobias, I told you. We have phobias and you don't even know sometimes or remember what caused this irrational behavior. It's the impression. So something stronger has to uproot that old thing. This is why emotions play a key role in the images you form in your mind. So if something scared you so bad that now you can't go anywhere without seeing this image, well then, that's the image you recreate. So how do you change it? The feeling. Get the emotion. The emotion. If you don't know what something feels like because you've never experienced it, this is why we have things like Google. This is why we have things like YouTube. Search it because, like Neville tells you, everything already exists. Somebody has felt what you want to feel. You see what I'm saying? This is the understanding of impressions. Impressions need a strong emotion to imprint them upon the subconscious mind. And this is what Neville means when he says, catch the mood, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Because he knows, Neville knew psychokinesis. Whatever image you hold is the image you must recreate. This is why he could tell you with such confidence and conviction that if you see it in your mind and you have that feeling, well, then it has no choice but to show up. This is why he can tell you, because he knew and he understood what the law does and how the law works and what makes the law work. That's all I wanted to share on impressions today. If you have more questions, drop a comment and I will do my best to answer the question for you. But as I say, pay attention in your world and look around you and see what emotions are creating impressions upon your mind. Just pay attention. Much love.